Good morning, welcome back to the show. It's 11:38. Let's go straight to my next guest, Conservative MP, Shadow Foreign Minister Andrew Rosindell, live from the Conservative Party conference. A very good morning to you, Andrew.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Lots to talk about with you, about the party conference and indeed what's been going on around the country. Just first of all, your reaction to the big story of the day, the Prime Minister calling on students not to take part in what he's called un-British protests, which are taking place on the day of the anniversary of the October the 7th Hamas massacre.
Well, I think it's shocking that anyone would show such disrespect on this tragic anniversary. The fact is that 3 years ago we saw the tragic murder of innocent people, and we should be reflecting on that rather than protesting. I think, frankly, Julia, people are sick and tired of these protests in London. We believe in free speech, yes, but these people are actually abusing our freedoms, and so I think it is time for these people to reflect on the offence they're causing.
Would you ban them from taking part in these protests?
So I think that I don't like banning things in this country, but there are times when there has to be restrictions. Now, you know, one idea is to say, look, you've already had 10 protests in the last month in that location, send them somewhere different. They don't have to be in the same place at the same time. So there are ways of dealing with this. I don't particularly want to call for a banning of any legal protest, but it is getting to a point where you wonder whether these people are acting legally, because they're effectively calling for the obliteration of Jewish people, and they are expressing the kind of hatred that I thought this country would always stood up against. So I am concerned about it, and I think a tougher line with these protesters is definitely needed.
Now, Conservative Party leader Tammy Bagnall's done a round of interviews today. She was speaking on Sunday. We had the Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary. He is speaking today, along with Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary. But it seems to be what's happening outside the news, outside of the conference chamber, that are actually making the news in terms of the Tories. One is a poll showing 2 in 3 Tory party members want a pact with reform at the next election, plus 20 Tory councillors announced as defecting to reform today. But also Robert Jenrick, I say the Shadow Justice Secretary, and his comments recorded, sent to The Guardian, I would have thought probably by Robert Jenrick, if he has any sense, about walking through Handsworth Ward in Birmingham and saying he'd not seen another white face, and criticising the lack of integration. Is this a bid by your Shadow Justice Secretary to appeal to many of those people who would otherwise defect to reform?
So I agreed with everything Robert said. I listened to the full statement that he made on that recording, and frankly, if you listen to the whole thing, it's perfectly reasonable.
I agree with every word he said as well.
Immigration, I thought you would. The fact is, immigration only works if those who are coming to this country integrate into our society, become British and accept our laws, our values and our customs and traditions. If you don't do that, and if you live in almost ghettos, I think that's very divisive, and I don't think that's the way we do things in Britain. So what Robert has highlighted is what the vast majority of people are thinking in this country. Now, do you want me to address the other issues you made about reform and having a pact? Because I've actually spoken about this myself this week. You said earlier that 2/3 of Conservative Party members, was it?
Yes.
That wanted a pact with reform.
Some 600 polled.
So, I'm one of those 2/3. I 100% believe that this country is too precious to risk handing this over to another 5 years of left-wing socialist government, maybe propped up by Liberals, SNP, Plaid Cymru, Jeremy Corbyn's lot. Frankly, that's too much of a risk. I'm in politics because I love my country, and the Conservative Party has always, I believed, been the party of the nation and put this country first. So we have to do it again. So this time, we may not be able to govern on our own, funnily enough, after 14 years and 5 prime ministers. People have rather had enough of us, and they voted us out last year, and they're still angry. They haven't forgiven us for the failures of those last 14 years. So surely it's in Britain's interests to work together with other like-minded parties. And if it means working with Nigel, who's a good man, let's work with him, let's work with Reform. We've almost got common policies now. If you look at what we're saying and what Reform is saying, there's not that much difference. So let's bring it together. Let's work out a plan to rescue our country from the calamity of this socialist government.
OK, no, you say that. The reality is there'd be a lot of Tories who would walk away if there was a pact with Reform. The Lib Dem side of things, think that Nigel's beyond the pale. There'd also be an awful lot of Reform voters who may have voted Tory in the past and are so disgusted with the failures of your government, the betrayal on immigration and many other issues, that actually they don't believe a word your lot say and they're voting Reform because they're not Tories. So a pact could actually say to them, well, I just won't vote at all. So that could actually do more damage.
Well, that's why yes. So that's why the whole thing is complicated. But the political realities of our electoral system is that you have two parties on the right of centre, particularly those that agree on most things. You're going to divide the vote and potentially leave a far left government, give them power again, which is what we all want to see.
So are you talking about parties standing down candidates? I mean, the way that Nigel Farage did for the Tories in 2019? If Reform are ahead in a particular seat, the Tories stand down their candidate?
Yeah. I'm not coming with a plan. What I'm saying, what I'm asking for is that we shouldn't rule out the possibility of some kind of working together, because I want to see a right of centre government. I think our country's too precious to have this divide on the right which delivers a far left government which is doing so much damage to our country. OK, and are you thinking of defecting? I'm sure I've asked you before, but word is you're on defection watch. Oh, am I? OK. So I think, as I've said already many times, I think it's not about me. It's about the entire Conservative Party. Perhaps the entire Conservative Party and Reform should defect with each other so that we actually get this country back on the right track again, because I think that what Reform is saying, in the main, makes a lot of sense. And funnily enough, we're saying similar things. We're almost aligning on policy. Yeah, but the thing is, the Tories, you're saying similar I mean, by the way, that wasn't a denial. I noted that. You're saying the Tory party is announcing policies, and I'll think, oh, well, that seems very sensible. But you're doing it sort of a month after Reform have announced a policy. Meanwhile, Labour say that everything Reform says is racist, and then they do a half-hearted version of it. The reality is Reform are leading the agenda. The Tories and Labour are basically chasing along afterwards, trying to basically understand where, frankly, the British zeitgeist is right now. And if you want the policies that Reform is asking for and pushing and putting on in their next manifesto, why would you vote for the Reform light version in the Tories? Well, it's a fair point, and that's why so many of our core voters have deserted us. Yeah. And I understand why, because we disappointed them. And let's face it, all the policies we're announcing this week at conference, which are brilliant, and, I say to my leader, Kemi, thank God we've speeded this up and actually come out with clear policies now, because waiting till the election is too late. We have been waiting a long time. Ideas, but I just wish we'd done it in government. I wish in those 14 years we had been a lot more radical. We should have done a Margaret Thatcher and actually gone in, sorted the country out, repealed all that Blair legislation, dealt with the immigration problem, which we didn't do, yet we promised to do it. We should have sorted out the public services, and we shouldn't have had all those crazy lockdowns, because that's what's led to the economic problems we have today in the main. Indeed. So, I'm one of these Conservatives, as you know, Julia, who's always spoken out for these things. I just disappointed my own party. We didn't do it in government, but at least now we are aligning on the right, and the next stage is to win the election, somehow get a right of centre majority, get rid of Keir Starmer, get rid of the Labour Party, and stop the calamity of a progressive left-wing government which would do so much damage to our country. OK, right, just finally, now you're appearing to be very friendly and smiley today from Manchester, but Gary Neville, the football pundit, former football captain, has blamed angry middle-aged white men who fly the Union flag and the England flag for basically causing division in this country. He was speaking, bizarrely, after someone who very much was not an angry middle-aged white man, who basically tried to storm into a synagogue to kill Jews. Are you an angry middle-aged white man, and are you partly responsible for causing division in this country? No, absolutely. The people who cause division are the people that don't accept the fact that we live in a magnificent country with a proud heritage, and the Union Jack, the Union flag, represents everybody. It's the people that try to divide us up by denigrating Britain's proud history and by questioning our validity as a nation state. They're the people that have actually divided our society. We should all unite behind being British. We should all unite under one flag, in one country, and stop trying to divide everybody up into different categories. I think this idea of diversity and denigrating our national institutions, and in particularly the Union Jack, I think that's a disgrace. And people that do that should be ashamed. We fought this country, my father, my grandfather, so many people in the past fought under that flag so that we can live in a free society.
Okay.
And those that denigrate the Union Jack should be utterly ashamed of themselves.
Andrew Rosindell, I have to leave it there. Conservative MP, Shadow Foreign Minister, thank you. Joining us live from Tory Party conference.